Who wants to introduce the show?
You.
All right. Hey everyone, welcome back to Green Street Joinery, Two River. Today's Craftsman at Green Street Joinery.
Today's River.
Yeah, I'm shooting a video for Two River. That's something I did a couple of years ago, and I'm doing it again with Peter. And we're going to shoot a video for Two River Mushroom, so that's where the confusion comes from. Before, when I walked around the camera and we just did an audio check, I looked in there, I was like, I forgot, I cut my own hair.
You gave yourself a haircut?
Yeah, that's my new thing for 2024 is cut my own hair.
With electric?
I did. I went out and bought a whale or a wall.
I always said wall. I'm not
sure.
sure.
I think it's a wall.
Yeah. It was $25 at CVS, so if anybody wants to get in on this. I went, there's a learning curve here. I went a little bit deep because I started with something else and realized that it wasn't going to work. And so I put my hat on backwards and ran out to the CVS. And I had to go shorter than I wanted to go. But I can go as tall as an inch or as long as an inch. And this is like 5/8 of an inch. But anyway, so that's what I got done.
That's the maximum guard that it comes with is an inch? That seems short.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I feel like, maybe not.
This one,
yeah, because I guess you use a scissor when you're...
I guess you would, yeah. But an inch is pretty long. I think that if I can figure out how to do it with the inch and then kind of go up the sides with like 3/4, then 5/8. Are we talking about woodworking?
They use a number system, like a 0 or a 1 or a 2 or a 3. I don't know how they translate to...
This one's actually color coded with
really?
1 inch, 7/8, 3/4, 5/8.
How are you going to blend it in?
Well, the back is pretty tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a little jagged.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me because I can't see the back.
Yeah. Nobody's staring at the back of your head anyway.
Yeah, so anyway, so that's what I got done in 2023. So we could talk about, you want to recap the year?
Yeah.
You can go, Jeff. Or
Yeah,
you can go,
I mean, we moved into the shop last January 2023. We had a lot of changes. We have the Streebig now. We have the Edge Bander. Machinery-wise, what else? The new hammer sander. And we started today's Craftsman in 2023. We got the spray booth. We got the compressor.
Wow.
There's no wonder we ended the year with no money.
You're busy. I was really happy to see how busy you guys were, like right off the bat. Like it seemed like as soon as you got more space, you just got more work, like that.
Yeah. We were kind of busting at the seams before we moved. And now we have this, what do you call it? This thing we have to feed, we got to feed this monster. So it's like you got to take on the work because we got to pay for all this. So
it's changed the projects that you take. You're more open to a lot more conversations.
Yeah, now it's like we don't have the luxury of taking jobs with a low profit margin because if the profit's not there, we can't do it. You know what I mean? Whereas before, with no overhead, it's like, we could do
an art piece.
Yeah, now it's not possible. If there's enough other work coming through the shop, you could take a little hit here and there. This oak job, for example, the profit margin on this is so low compared to some of the other. We just did a 25-foot banquette. Like that, something like that has a much higher, commercial job, much higher profit margin than this. But if you have some other good jobs, you can take on something like this.
Okay, so the bigger commercial jobs will pay more, and you can bang them out because you're working with different material.
Pre-finished material. It's all flat. It was like 10 sheets, 5x9 of 3/4 millimeter. That was it, and it was 2-3 days, knock it out.
And that's where the Streebig really comes in.
Yeah.
I mean, that had to make that job. I mean, I can't even imagine pushing all that through the table saw.
Yeah.
And I saw, because I was watching you on Instagram, you're just loading it off the cart and through the saw.
And the bander, you have to edge band everything. So having an actual edge bander is very
that's quite the
important.
machine.
Yeah.
We haven't done a video on that yet.
I was thinking, I was actually in there cleaning it out today, and we were having an issue with it, which I think, knock on wood, sorted out today. It's our own fault. But I was in there cleaning it, and I was thinking, oh yeah, we got to make that video with Brian.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
Especially since there's probably no videos like that.
Definitely not on that machine.
No.
That's
Okay.
for sure.
I can't believe it was January that you made. Well, you didn't move the machines in here in January.
Oh yeah, we were working in here the first Monday of 2023.
I remember
Yeah.
when we moved in,
Yeah.
it being kind of a warm day.
It was.
Because there was a whole.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
crew.
December.
Yeah.
That was that was the last week of December.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I can't
Yeah,
believe that's
you
a year.
came and Rob, DeMarco,
Yeah.
Corey Ty,
And Matt.
Matt. No, Matt.
Matt Serio.
Matt
Yeah,
Serio.
Matt Serio was there.
Keith.
Yeah, Keith.
The
Was
Keith's truck.
Yeah, Keith
Yeah.
was the big hero that day.
That truck was a game changer.
Yeah, the liftgate.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what friends are for.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was, I guess, then in maybe July, we started today's Craftsman.
Yeah, well, we were just looking at the thing. We have, I guess, 24 videos now. Well,
Yeah.
there might be some. Maybe there's some shorts
There's
there.
probably,
I'm not
no, I think I might have divided them into shorts in one folder. And
sure. Okay.
so what we do is I come over here when Jeff and Rob are working on something, we think of make a video, and then I'll shoot it and I'll go back and do the editing and file everything. And then I dump the files over to Jeff every couple of months, just so you have a copy too.
Yep.
I know I've had one hard drive turn into a brick on me, so this way we've got two kind of fail safes.
Mm-hmm.
But then this year, the plan is, I think a doable goal is 4 projects, smaller projects, where maybe I build some of it in my shop. Let's just divide it into 3 pieces. Like you could say if it's a table, you got a top, an apron, and legs.
Yep.
You know, you guys do whatever, and I do a part, and then we come over here and assemble it all together. So maybe I would just be videoing in my shop, you know, putting the top together with some biscuits or whatever, and then we come over here, get the whole thing done. And then that would rely on, I would maybe do the hand-drawn plans and measurements and just hand them off to you, and then you could turn that into plans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got the miter saw plans that nobody ever bought.
Oh, nobody ever bought those?
No.
Wow.
Come on.
I've been using it too.
Well, that's a great cabinet.
I've been rolling it over to the
Yeah.
to the wood storage area.
Well, we did that one video where we were breaking down lumber, and
Mhm.
that's when I worked with you
Yeah.
for a couple hours. But I think we're going to go for furniture builds,
Yeah.
because I think that's the idea too. I know I sell a decent amount of plans on my website, and I think that's because they're pieces of furniture that are pretty accessible to the beginner woodworker. I think, so here's a great analogy. You can look at a piece of furniture and be like, okay, and just build that. If you know the dimensions, then you really,
Yeah.
there's not a question in your mind. You might build it differently just because you'll think of a better way.
Yeah.
Where if you're a couple years into woodworking and you have a small shop, it's kind of hard to come up with a good design that after all that work is going to look good. Because I've always said sometimes it comes down to a quarter of an inch whether or not something looks elegant or kind of clunky. And it's pretty sad when somebody puts so much work into something and it's just a little bit off.
Yeah.
So the idea of plans is, I think between the 3 of us, we can come up with 4 nice pieces
Oh yeah.
in 2024, and hopefully get them out into the world. People making them all over the world, because that's what happens. You know, you get people in Australia making your furniture. It's pretty
That's
cool.
fun.
It is neat. You get
Yeah.
emails from people, and then really try to get on top of the sponsor game, because that's the other side. Instead of trying to make content for people to be entertained by while they're driving or while they're like taking a train somewhere or sitting in a waiting room, this is more for people who are going to build stuff.
Yeah.
More
That's-
instructional.
Yeah. Well, I also think that the people who are tuning into these videos are actually building things. Where I think there's a lot of, let's say, maker type videos where people will watch this, but they're never going to make anything.
Yeah, like our Fez driver Joe, who was in the beginning shot of I forget which video, going back a couple videos ago.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, he doesn't do any woodworking, but he loves watching, like on Facebook, reels, or what they call them, reels on Facebook?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like woodworking reels. Like he loves it, but he doesn't do a stitch of woodworking.
There's a lot of people like that. I think reels appeal to to people like that a little bit more than say full length videos. But
yeah, you were shocked that we watched your whole 46-minute video.
I couldn't believe it.
We took a long lunch just to finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long video.
I didn't realize it was that long. I thought maybe half hour.
It was a hard video to shoot because it was sort of the whole project was kind of a grind. And so it's a lot easier when you're building and you talk to the camera, like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't get into it, so I was just building stuff. And I was like, generally I'll shoot and then I'll edit at the end of the day. When I finished that, I had not even looked at any of the footage, barely at least. And then I was like, oh, I gotta figure out how to put this whole thing together and also put 2 sponsor spots in it and make it all work. And I actually got a comment from someone I talk to pretty regularly on Instagram, and he liked the idea that the cabinet was kind of finished, or like 70 or 80% finished in a lot of the scenes, and I referred back to it.
Yeah, I noticed that where rather than it being at a point and saying, okay, now we're gonna do this, you had the piece almost done, and it was like, okay, now we're gonna do the doors. So it was like a little primer, like you could see what was about to happen.
I was so happy to get that feedback because I was just like, man, I don't know how to start this conversation up again at this part of the build. And that was the only way I could make it go, is actually go back to the thing and say, this is why I did this and this is what we're going to do now. So,
is that the way they did it on New Yankee Workshop?
yeah, that's actually what John's the guy who I talk with, and John's like, he's like, it reminded me of the New Yankee Workshop because Norm would build 2 things and refer back to the one that was already built, which is great if you can build 2 things.
Yeah, he told me he used to build 3.
Really?
Yeah.
What, to work out like the kinks?
Well, one would go to the producer, Russ.
Okay.
And one was, I guess, the test piece, and then there was one for the show.
It makes a lot of sense, I think. At least 2.
Yeah.
And I mean, the nice thing for Norm is he didn't have to deal with like the camera or any of that voiceover. Oh, he probably did do voiceover.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody was writing those lines for him, you know.
When
He
I
was good.
Yeah, when I saw him, the producer was there with just the cameraman, and he said, Norm, like in that video that you just shot with Jeff, you're sort of directing him like that, just to go over there and say something about how you're going to cut this half lap, and I'll shoot from over here. And that's exactly how it went. Jeff's,
I always say, is
just like that.
Jeff's like a one-take wonder because...
Where's the Norm paycheck?
Well, that's what we got to work on next. But it's great because I'll just say, like, hey, this is... And I think a lot of that has to do with, like, I have questions. Because we were just shooting a video on these half laps. And right away I noticed the 0 clearance, which makes sense to ask about, you know, tear out, like, is this to avoid tear out? So it's pretty easy to get a conversation going.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually, I like shooting these videos more so than like making my own videos, because it's kind of like building a story where when I'm in the shop, you turn the camera on and walk around in front of it, and then everything just kind of shuts off and you're wondering.
Oh yeah, like if I was to try and shoot these by myself with no primer, no one to ask, to prompt a question, that couldn't, you know, articulate things the same way, because...
See, it's hard for me to know that because I'm thinking this guy's just natural, but it's good to get that. And I think that's why as we continue to build the channel and work on projects, it'll just go further and become easier, and the content will get better and better and better. And then ultimately pick up sponsors, sell plans, and create more revenue, because that is the name of the game. Revenue
Mhm.
will make it a lot easier to do bigger and better things. And I mean, in a perfect world, we would have a little house that we renovate and take all the combined skills and turn it into something great. And that sounds maybe pie in the sky, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, Keensburg, you mean?
Somewhere. Keensburg, I think the hardest thing is really the entry level to real estate. It's just so high.
Yeah, New Jersey it's almost untouchable.
But even like, where could we travel? Like a 2 or 3 hour thing? Is that something that's reasonable?
Yeah, if we had the backing.
Yeah, who knows?
What about that kitchen job up in?
Oh, that's something. Yeah, we won't talk
Yeah.
about that yet, but
That'd be cool.
we could talk about that down the road. But anyway, I thought this was good just to kind of give a quick kind of hello and goodbye to 2023 and hello to 2024. I'm excited about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if people have thoughts about what they'd like to see us build.
I would love to get your feedback on what kind of pieces of furniture. I mean, I'm kind of thinking bookcases, things that are actual staples in the home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That are also doable projects for, the first to fifth year woodworker. And again, it really comes down to some of those simple design decisions between the three of us that make something, I think, go from, an entry level woodshop project to something that you'll actually have for, 100 years down the road. Somebody will want to keep it.
Yeah, I have a bunch of those like old Stickley books and things like that.
Oh, that'd be
where
great to look at.
They show the the measure drawing and stuff like that on there, and there are so many little, really little details, like maybe a taper on the leg, or the top isn't big, but it's small and has like a little refined detail in it. Just lots of little things like that made his stuff really good.
For sure. And it'll be fun to talk about furniture makers like Stickley, like other furniture makers and other designs, almost like you guys did with the podcast a year or two ago when you did the history of furniture. Almost revisit some of that and turn that into like a little design challenge.
Yeah.
How can we take this thing and kind of somehow make it our own a little bit? So cool.
Oh yeah.
I guess that's it. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. That's it, baby.
All right, we'll see you later.